Well, hello, Shannon. I'm so excited to do this. This is like, I feel like
Hello.
years in the making.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to be here.
I
It is
know,
years in the making.
I know. We'll have to do a longer formal episode of how we met in 2018 and all the things that we've been through together, but
Yeah.
we're going to keep it short and punchy today. Are you ready?
Oh, I love it. Yeah.
Yeah. So, first things first, tell everybody what you do, who you are, who you help.
Yeah. So I'm Shannon Buruchian. If we're just meeting for the first time, I'm a personal trainer and a holistic health coach, and I help women lose weight and keep it off so they can fit confidently into their clothes. Growing up, I was an athlete, so fitness always came really naturally to me, but nutrition is really where I struggled. I was constantly confused around what I should be eating and falling off track diets. And then 7 years ago, I tore my ACL for the first time. Second time's another story, but for the first time. And it was the first time in my life that I couldn't exercise. And I was so scared that I was going to gain weight because in the industry, we're told it's calories in and calories out. But this is where I found strength training and fell in love with this idea and this feeling of being strong rather than just being skinny. And it was after I hired a coach to heal my relationship with food that I learned the value of proper nutrition and how to fuel your body in a way that felt balanced and free. And so now I help women really cut through all of this confusion and overwhelm in the industry and create the sustainable lifestyle for themselves so they can feel really strong and confident and empowered in their skin.
I love it. I mean, I was a trainer for 18 years. I have a BS in exercise physiology, and I
Mhm.
still get overwhelmed by all
Right.
of the information that's out there when it comes to food and movement.
Hmm.
One week it's like vegan's the best, the next week vegan's going to kill you, and then one week it's like lift weights, and the next week it's like just do Pilates. So it's
Right.
it's exhausting, and I love that you're out there really helping, like you said, cut through the noise, which is really cool. So you've been doing this for a while. You're not new to the industry. And I know when we met in 2018, you were also doing online coaching. So
Hmm.
that puts you as like a digital marketing grandma. I mean, anything over like 2, 3, 4 years in this industry, you're a grandma. Me, 11 years, I'm a great grandma.
Right.
Um, you've been doing it for a while, yet
Hmm.
years and years later, you decide to
Yeah.
join Empower.
Yes.
What changed? Why did you pull the trigger? What was going on in your business that you were like, yep, now's the time all these years later? Because you had a successful business
Hmm.
online already.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really interesting because coming from the training world, I was so used to one-on-one with clients, working with a client intimately, one-on-one, having it be really customized. So when I transitioned online, especially with working with business coaches right out of the gate, that's what we were taught, go one-to-one right out of the gate. And so it felt like a very natural transition for me. And I love one-on-one coaching. I want to know your kids' names. I want to know what you did over the weekend. I want to know about your dog. Like, when I
He's
meet
the
people in the
cutest one in the whole
background,
wide world.
absolutely. Um, you know, I want to know you intimately. And I also believe that with health and fitness, especially with the women that I work with, they're coming in with such different dieting histories, bodies, metabolisms, like intricate lifestyle dynamics that are influencing their results, that one-on-one is the most effective route for them right out of the gate because it's so customized.
Yeah.
And it worked for me for many years. I loved it. And it's not that it's not working now, but I found myself, I would say 2-ish, maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago, reaching this threshold where I just couldn't take on more. You get capped
Yeah.
in terms of your personal bandwidth, in terms of the quality of work that you can put out, because especially as an entrepreneur, you're wearing all of the hats, right? Like
Yep.
marketing and sales and legal and, Instagram and trying to be there for your family and show up in real life and like all of the different hats. It's exhausting. And so I made the vow to myself really early on that I was never willing to compromise the customer's experience.
Yeah.
And when I found myself getting to the place where very little things were getting missed, I knew something had to change. And group coaching has always been on my radar. I mean, I've been in your world for many years, like just
Well, wait, I
watching
have
from
a
the
quick
background.
question.
Yeah.
You said before one-on-one is like the most effective way to really like get
Hmm.
these results and learn about your clients, especially in something like, health and nutrition where it's so
Yeah.
custom, it's so individual. Was there ever a belief for you that transitioning to group wouldn't be as good, as powerful, as effective?
Yeah.
Was that like something you mentally felt?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, for a really long time. And that was also a hang up of why I didn't go to group earlier, because I wanted to make sure that I felt so secure in my system and methodology that I could replicate it on a bigger scale with just enough customization that someone would see results and be able to take the information and implement it for themselves without them just being thrown into a group, because I come from the world of Beachbody and just feeling like in the background of this giant crowd and getting lost. And I didn't
Yeah.
want that to happen.
Yeah.
So there was also this mindset I needed to overcome of the way that I deliver this content, you can then take it and customize it for yourself versus me having to write the plan for you.
Mm. Have you been able to make that shift?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So take us back then. So you're a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, and
Yep.
you've always wanted to create a group and you've been
Yep.
watching and
And I just got to the place where I needed to do the thing. And I was like, it's now or never. I need to transition to group. I felt like I was finally in a place to be able to transition to group. I had secured my system and my methodology enough that I was like, it's refined, it's ready, I'm ready, I have the bandwidth. And I remember having a conversation with you and you're like, just join it already. I'm like, okay, all right, let's do it, And I also knew that I wanted to do it right.
Yeah.
I had run my programs for so long. I had built the awareness and brand awareness around the programs that I wanted to make sure that when I launched the group, I did it correctly. And so it felt like a no-brainer to go through Empower, sign up for Empower, knowing that that is the point to build this group program and launch this group program and do it in a way that's scalable and successful. And so it just felt like the perfect time for me, especially this last round, to join Empower and really build out the group and do it the right way from the beginning.
Yeah. It's so interesting that you say it felt like the perfect time because as an outsider, I'm going, well, that's interesting. It was years and years of you building. And so
Yeah.
there could have been lots of times that could have been the perfect time.
Right.
And you had to be mentally, ready for that. We're never ready, but you
Mhm.
had to be at a place, whether it was from the pain or the desire of the
Yeah.
pleasure, that it was so deep that you were ready to pull the trigger. But I'm going, you literally moved across the country from New Jersey to San Diego by car in
Mid-launch,
the middle
yeah.
of not even just Empower, in the middle of
Right.
your launch. And so I'm here as an outsider going, that's so interesting that
Well,
you thought it
that
was the
part,
perfect time.
right. Well, the move wasn't on the radar when I first joined
Oh.
Empower. I mean, like it was, but not like fully secured in of like, yeah, let's go right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Um, Thankfully it worked out so perfectly and the doors for launch closed Friday afternoon. I packed that weekend and left on Monday. And then the program started the week after I arrived. So I'm like, all right, thanks, universe. I had my back on that one.
Yeah. Yeah. Wild. Okay. So now
Yeah.
you're how many weeks into the program
3,
of how long is it?
12
Okay. So
weeks.
you're just coming up on the first month of a 12-week program.
Yeah.
What's going on? How are your clients doing? Have you shifted the mindset even more that group isn't as powerful? Are you having
Mm.
these like light bulb moments of, wow, this is actually really incredible because XYZ?
Yeah, it's having done one-on-one for so long, the one thing that I kept getting asked on discovery calls was, can I meet other women who have gone through this program, or do I get to meet other women in a community during this? And so I knew that my community, especially my clients, wanted that group component. And so I also needed to build my confidence and strength that I could run a group successfully and make sure that they had the accountability and the nurturing and feeling seen and supported, because that is such a value of mine. And so it's not like I was twiddling my thumbs waiting to be able to prepare for this group, but I had launched like little mini challenges or like little group programs to build my confidence as a coach running a group successfully. And so it was really cool to then feel like I had the education under my belt from Empower and then also just experience to now build this group that's bigger, but also have those components where the women are connecting and meeting. And you just don't get that in a one-on-one container. We had one girl the other week, she shared like some kind of recipe or something she had for breakfast. And one other girl in there was like, did we just become best friends? Because I had the same
Oh,
exact thing this morning. And I'm like, this is what it's about,
yeah.
especially inside of health and fitness, because it can feel so lonely. You can feel like a salmon swimming upstream where everyone out is just like, going out on the weekends or like eating whatever they want. And they're not at the point where they care about their health, that being the healthy friend in the group can almost be stigmatized in that way versus celebrated.
Yeah.
And so to have this group behind you that's supporting you and celebrating you and also on this journey of making these healthy changes is so powerful. So
Yeah.
especially being 1 month in, like seeing the connections start to be made and the friendships, even though were all across the country in different levels. And then also, they've just had massive transformations in terms of how they view this process, in terms of consistency and how they feel their body, and they're celebrating and looking for the wins in themselves. So, I mean, to think that's already happened in just a few short weeks, I can't wait to see where they're going to be at week 12.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
We work with people in all different industries. We do get a lot of health and fitness professionals or
Hmm.
health and wellness. That's a big, big, big umbrella.
Yeah.
What would you say to the person who's listening, who's saying, yeah, but something like nutrition or gut health or hormones or fertility, it's so personal, it's so vulnerable. There
Mm.
might be an objection that, well, my clients aren't going to want to share what they're actually going through in a group setting because it's so private and so personal. Have you seen that yet at all with your clients? And how do you navigate, or if they would say that, how would you navigate that?
I'm not in the position where we're sharing lab work.
Got it.
So I think it's different if it's we're running through labs, we're doing gut health testing, we're doing fertility, testing, anything under that umbrella where it's very intricate and very sensitive and case sensitive, and confidential. I think if you're running a group program and you're dealing with that type of information, you should have an opportunity offset from the group to discuss that with your client
Yep.
in a safe container, and then have maybe more generalized approaches that you take as a group. I think finding that dynamic and customizing that and whatever that looks like for your group program is going to be really important.
Yeah.
But I also believe that it's up to you as the coach and the mentor and the leader to facilitate a container where it is safe for people to speak up and know that they're going to be seen and supported.
Mm,
So whether that is, talking to someone on a discovery call or on a strategy call and saying like, hey, this is the environment we're creating, are you open and willing to cultivate that with us? And then also celebrating someone for their vulnerabilities, and then having, an outlet if someone wants to bring a question to your attention that maybe they don't feel as comfortable sharing with the group.
it's so good. And, one of the things that I love is Loom or Zoom.
Hmm.
And so if you're a coach or a service provider who's saying, yeah, okay, that makes sense, but I don't want to do more calls. I don't want to necessarily offer one-on-one SOS calls to clients, even
Right.
though it might be the proper container for something so personal. You can do something like a Loom recording or a Zoom
Hmm.
recording of going over the person's lab and just send it to them. And now it's not
Yep.
another call on your schedule. It's just like a quick little check-in that you're
Yeah.
doing, or, create some sort of a form, Google Forms or Survey Monkey or type form where they're filling it out and sending it back to you. So there are definitely ways around it. And of course, an Empower will teach you that. But
Yeah.
there are ways to navigate around how do you keep it still intimate, private, and personal while facilitating a group. And I love what you said too about, the coach, it really is your responsibility to set
Mhm.
the tone for the container.
Right.
So I love, love, love that. Okay. Are you still doing one-on-ones?
Yes.
So you can
Yes.
do both.
You can.
I love
Things
that.
I've learned from you. Yeah, no, I mean, I am, but I'm in this interesting spot with my business as I'm transitioning. I almost look at like a transition of a wheel, like
Yeah.
while you're in between creating offers until like the business structure shifts. And that's really my whole purpose of wanting to go to group, is to be able to scale. I'm only one person, right? And so I didn't want that quality of experience for my clients to be compromised. And I also wanted to not burn out because I've
Yeah.
done that too many times to count. You got to learn sometime. So, my group program is becoming my signature offer. And then if someone wants to work with me on a one-on-one capacity, it makes not only that service more exclusive, higher quality, but it allows me to get, to be able to give my time and attention to my clientele and also get reimbursed in the way that I
Yeah.
needed to be able to run the business and support myself.
Yeah, it's interesting because so often coaches, when they first come to us, or, consultant service providers, there's a resistance to this idea of group for many reasons, like we just talked
Hmm.
about, the privacy setting and all of that. Also, can I hold that many people? What happens if nobody
Right.
shows up? Like whatever.
Right.
When all of these service providers and coaches and consultants and entrepreneurs come to us, they all want really two things. One is impact and two is
Hmm.
income. Usually it's the other way around. And don't judge yourself. Like, we need to make money. We got to pay our rent,
Yeah.
right? So we want to make more money. We want to make more impact. And yet we have this resistance to being able to serve more people in a smaller
Hmm.
setting. And so the idea of going from one to one to many means that you can literally be impacting 10, 20, 50, 100 people in an hour's time rather than one person, which ultimately is going
Yes.
to make a bigger impact and a bigger income. So, if you've been listening along at all for the past 10 years or 11 years with me, I'm a huge advocate. I'm a huge advocate for group coaching. I really find so much power in the community, like you said, in them becoming each other's accountability and support. You can reach more people, make more impact, make more money in less
Hmm.
time. It's super scalable. You can bring in coaches. I know you have a support coach, don't you?
I do. Yeah, I do.
Which is crazy
Game
because
changer.
it's really like your first, essentially like your first round doing it like this, and you already have a support coach. How did you know you wanted one? How did you know you needed one? What does that look like?
It happened really organically. She was actually a client of mine, one of my very first clients starting out, and
Wow.
had such success in the program and was very, I don't want to say bought in, but like stood deeply behind the mission of what I share and how I approach health and fitness. And we worked together for, I think, 3, if not 4 years
Wow.
before she wanted to start to become a nutrition coach. And then I started supporting her on that journey. And then it just happened organically that I was like, do you want to come and, help out with this challenge and kind of learn the behind the scenes? And then we were like, why don't we should just join forces? Like, I trust you, I appreciate you. And she loves it. And she's still learning on her fitness journey. And so having that support coach, at least for me, happened really organically. And I hold her very close to my heart because we get along really well. And she has a lot of strengths that I don't necessarily have. Like, I'm a fitness and nutrition coach, but don't ask me to make recipes. Like, it's not my strong suit. But she loves the kitchen. Like,
Yeah.
give her ingredients and she'll just go to work. And so I think it's important, especially if you're going to be bringing on a support coach, to think of ways that they can balance out maybe your strengths or weaknesses, and then use them to facilitate to not only support you but to support the clients.
Yeah. I have a question. It might be difficult
Yeah,
to answer. I'm putting you on the spot here. So
let's do
you
it.
have been in the coaching industry for a long time, like you said, both in
Mhm.
person, then online with one-on-ones. Yet you come into Empower hoping to learn a new system, a new framework, plug into it and yield that return on that investment, which you did do. Was
Mhm.
there anything that you learned, if you could think of off the top of your head, was there something that you learned in Empower that you didn't know? Or better yet, was there something that you already knew but maybe saw it in a different light or started implementing it in a different light while in Empower? Because you're an OG, you're a vet, you
Right.
already had
Right.
experience. So was there something that you can think of that was like, yeah, I've heard it before, but when we were in Empower, something's changed or clicked?
I want to say everything because I don't mean that. I mean, like, Empower is great. Like, sign up for the program right now. Um, I'll say that until the cows come home. But truly everything, because when I went to build my business, it was 5-ish plus years ago. And so it's been a very long time since I've literally started from the bottom and rebuilt it from the ground up in this format that I knew it was going to be scalable. Because in the beginning, I was just learning a bunch of different pieces. I didn't come from a marketing background or a business background. Let's do planks and push-ups and these are vegetables. Like, I didn't know any of this. And so, um, and also the type of learner I am, I love a system and I love a structure. And that's why I vibe so well with you, because your teacher background, the way you structure it and teach it, it's not overwhelming. It's very easy to implement. And so it was really neat for me to go back through the process of building from the ground up, because that's in the stage of business, or that I am in with my business, completely restructuring, and take what I have learned, but then hear it in a new way and then be able to implement it from this higher level of awareness
Mm.
of like, oh, I'm already ahead of the game on that little thing, but now I can add the different components that I've never touched on before. Or, okay, well, now let me set up a Monday board and create a framework for how I launch so that I can replicate it in the future. And so I want to say out of the gate everything. The thing that comes to mind first and foremost that I've heard numerous times and it finally clicked with social media.
Mm.
And you talking about, I mean, I've heard content buckets, I've heard, social media strategy. But my relationship with social media has changed drastically over the past 2 months. I
Wow.
clock in and I clock out. It's an asset of my business. It's not my entire business. I'm
Mm.
using it for marketing, but it's not where I'm putting all of my time and attention. And it's created such freedom in my world. And it's also allowed me to strategize in the future. Like, if I know we're opening doors for the group program, let's say in June, okay, well, what do I need to support my community with and my clients with now to prepare them? What do people need to learn in order to feel ready to apply for the program? What do they need to learn to overcome the fears and objections that they have? Just everything about how I'm going about social media. And it's not perfect. I mean, I'm still learning and having aha moments, but it just feels like I have a way better grasp and understanding on it.
just over here crying. There's nothing to see here. No,
Yeah.
it makes me emotional, not because of what you learned or you edifying
Yeah.
our program. It's the freedom that it's created for
Yeah.
you, because so
Yeah.
often when we get into coaching, when we're using social media as marketing, most of us do, we get caught up in it and we're on it all the
Mhm.
time. And it feels like it is our business. And it almost feels like if I'm not on, my business can't grow, or if I'm not showing
Mhm.
up on social media, I can't make money. And that is a horrible way to feel,
Mhm.
especially when you want to live your life. And we get
Yep.
into entrepreneurship for time and freedom, autonomy. And then all of a sudden you're like glued to your phone all day. So I'm so happy for you that that's come out of
Thank
it.
you.
All right, we're going to wrap with a couple questions real quick. So, because I can talk to you all day. The people listening right now who are
Yeah.
in a similar position, they're not new, they've put out
Mhm.
things before, they've got one-on-ones, everything makes sense.
Right.
For the person who doesn't have any one-on-ones yet, what would you say to them? Do they need one-on-ones first? Can they jump into Empower with no one-on-ones? Is Empower going to be overwhelming if they've never done any of this before?
You don't need to start with one-on-one. You can start with group. Absolutely right out of the gate. Will Empower be overwhelming? I believe that there is this kind of reality check when we sign up for business coaching programs where it's not making the investment that gets you the transformation, it's showing up and doing the work.
Yeah.
So when you go into a program, the program itself is not the thing that's going to guarantee you, a $10,000 launch at the end of the 90 days, but it's actually carving out the time to put in the work to build a business. There's a reason it's called building a business. You don't just wake up and you're like, here's my finances, I have a business now. So I want you to go into it with your eyes wide open that you can be very successful building a group program from the get-go. The really cool thing that I hope people hear, and they probably learn this, just following you, is that your first launch can be so amazing because you have people in your wheelhouse who already connect to you versus someone in my stage of business. Once you've kind of been in this for so long, you have to focus on that lead generation. You have to focus on nurturing an audience and getting exposure into new audiences. And so, starting out of the gate, you're in this really unique opportunity that we talk about a lot. Like, I wish I knew it when I had it. And
Yeah.
I don't want to necessarily go back there, but you know, you can have a really successful first launch because it's all new and fresh and
Yeah.
it's exciting. And as long as you're carving out the time to pour love and attention into this business that you're building, you will be successful. Empower is amazing because it lays out the steps. Here's literally step one. Where do you need to start? Okay, once you do that, here's step two. So as long as you're diligent about staying up to date and relying on the team,
Yeah.
teammates inside of Empower, support coaches asking your questions, it's not going to be overwhelming. Granted, it's a lot to learn in a short amount of time, but I really respect how you teach that you make it really tangible.
Yeah, I love it. And I love that you bring up your classmates and stuff too, your
Yeah.
teammates, your classmates. I know you and shout out to Amadeus. You guys connected like right at the beginning of Empower. I don't
Yeah.
know if you decided to be accountability partners or what
Hmm.
that looked like, but the two of you never missed a beat. I think you're still
Yeah.
doing accountability texts and calls with each
Yeah, we
other.
have a call to like
Do
connect
you?
on, a strategy session for like walking our clients through their whys. Yeah,
That's
he texted
awesome.
me yesterday.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. I love that so much. And that's something that we do
Yeah.
here is a byproduct of Empower, that we don't necessarily sell it. We don't sell
Right.
the community because it's like that's not the framework I'm giving you to
Yeah.
follow to build the business, but it's definitely the number one testimonial thing that we get from people.
Mhm.
Like, I didn't know I was going to get that.
Yeah.
So, oh my goodness, I love you so
I love
much.
you.
I'm so grateful for you. I'm going to end with one of our signature questions. Are you ready?
Ready.
Okay. If I were to cut you a check tomorrow for $50,000, this is our $50,000 question. How
Okay.
would you use it in or on your business? You could split it up or you could use it in one lump sum, but it's got to go towards the business.
I immediately would split it up, split it up, split it up. I would immediately split it up. I would use, I don't know exact financial or percentages, but a portion of it would go into investing in education and support because I know that when I put myself in containers, I grow.
Yeah.
And when I grow, the business grows. I would put a portion of it into team because I at a place right now where I have, some assistants, I have my support coach, and I would love to be able to scale that so that I can free up more time for myself to be able to stay in my zone of genius and then
Yeah.
pour back into the business. And I think a part of it would go to, should I say starting my podcast?
What do you mean? Is that
Well,
happening?
yes, this
Okay.
year. Yeah,
So
yeah. So like growing team to help start a podcast.
yes,
Yeah.
I love it. I'm so excited. I had 4 conversations today with Empower graduates, and 2 of you said you're starting a podcast.
Look at that.
I know. I can't wait.
Fitting.
That's so
Yeah.
fun. Oh my goodness. All right. Where can people find you, follow you, work with you, learn more about you?
Oh, well, come hang out on Instagram. That's where I spend most of my time. My handle is just at Shannon Buruchian. We might need to share that in the show
Spell
notes
that.
because my
Yeah.
name is pretty long. But one thing I would love to do is I have a free gift that I would love to give your audience, especially as
I like gifts.
entrepreneurs. Yeah, I love gifts too. Especially as entrepreneurs, energy is a really big asset of ours. We need energy to show up for the business, to show up for creativity, and just, who doesn't need more energy throughout the day? And so I actually put together a free energy boosting breakfast recipe guide because
Love
breakfast
it.
tends to be the most challenging meal of the day. If you're listening to this and you skip breakfast and go have coffee,
Don't look at me. It's
um,
11 o'clock and I've only had coffee.
exactly. And what we know is that if you skip breakfast, you're probably going to have that 2 to 3 p.m. crash. We notice our creativity tanks. And so you can go ahead and DM me the word, breakfast, and I'll send you the free recipe guide, or we'll link it in the show notes, and it'll be a really great asset for you. Keep your energy up.
But what about the people who don't eat eggs?
Oh, yeah. Well, we have plant-based, vegan, vegetarian options, everything for dietary preferences. I mean, I'm personally dairy-free, egg-free, and gluten-free. So
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. And, I just got to say, because all of these incredible guests have been sharing their awesome little gifts at the end. These are gifts that they built in Empower. So we
yes.
help you build your email list. We help you build your opt-ins. We help you build these
Yeah,
gifts. And so, man, I'm so grateful for you. I love you so much. It's been such
I
a
love
cool
you
journey
too.
for the past 5 years
Yeah.
together. If you love this episode, which I know you did, and you got some takeaways, little mindset boosts, little aha moments, little things that triggered new ways of thinking, make sure you take a screenshot, share it on social media, tag Shannon at Shannon Buruchian. It's Buruchian. Okay. I was like, did I get
Nailed
that
it.
right? I passed the test.
It
Tag
is
me
pretty
at,
long.
I am Jessica DeRose, and let us know what your biggest takeaways were. And as always, friends, cheers to your evolution. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you loved this episode, I invite you to be a part of our ripple effect and share it with a friend. And please, if you feel called, take 30 seconds to leave a 5-star review, and I'll be forever grateful. Until next time, cheers to your evolution.